Heavy metal is not mainstream, and I'll tell you what, that is a damn great thing. I wouldn't have it any other way, and I'm going to tell you all about it.
As I suspected, 32 flavors.
For years upon years upon years, you have heard guys like Gene Simmons, I think even Lars Ulrich. Then you have garbage that's hanging out for dear life, like MTV, Rolling Stone, babbling on and on and on and on and on about how heavy metal is dying, heavy metal is dead, it's over. Well, guess what? It's really actually simple. It's not even like a rabbit hole thing. It's actually a lot simpler than that. The genre is alive and well, and I'm a pretty rabbit hole type of guy. This genre is actually thriving. The difference is, unlike the thrash metal heydays of the Big Four and certain bands outside of that, like the Testaments of the world, the Exodus of the world, and of course OG heavy metal, the difference is in America, the cameras aren't just focused on them. That's all that it is. They just aren't having the same mainstream attention. That's literally strip all that it is. If you notice, you'll have genres that'll come and go, like the new metal, the emos, trash like Black Veil Brides come and go, metalcore, deathcore, so on and so forth, etc. They're just Johnny-come-latelys. They're here today, most of them gone tomorrow. They aren't in there because they actually love to be in. They're in there because it's the thing to get into at that moment. And as soon as it's not the thing that's in, they're going to slide right back out. And meanwhile, true heavy metal, thrash, death metal, black metal, stuff like that, they keep going. Sure, some of them broke up, got back together. Some sadly wore down the sound before course correcting. Some even stood the course, like Motorhead, like Overkill, bands like that. Some bands, they toured less, even though they stuck to their guns. Some just played out of state because you're like, oh, hey, look, the real money's in the European countries. Real money's in the Latino countries. And they see that's where the fans are because those are the fans that have been there, will always be there. And you know what? America, if there's one thing America can learn to be better at, is not to be as focused on the trends because you go to a lot of those Latino shows, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, bands like that, who even outside of festivals can headline venues like an arena or even in some cases a stadium, and they'll play to those crowds, whether it's in the 90s or the 2000s, major crowds, and they still got that loyalty decade upon decade upon decade. That's the difference. It's just they don't have the mainstream focus. You know how sometimes, especially once again in America, the bigger something gets, 9 times out of 10, whether it's with food, whether it's with music, movies, comics, it doesn't matter what it is. 9 times out of 10, when something gets bigger, the quality tends to diminish for most of the things. And I'm not willing to sacrifice something to get bigger just so the quality can diminish and people can pretend that they actually care. We already have enough adult pretenders in Hollywood. Why would I want to have more be sacrificed of the altar of playing the art of pretend? We don't need those. We don't want them. We like this genre as it is. So on top of that, we don't need the mainstream. The mainstream can hate us. They can make us a black sheep. We don't want to change our part. We don't want to change our role. So it's not that we want to stay in this spot of like victimhood or oppression. It's just we like our shit the way it is. And we rather have you come in here. The door's open. The water's fine. If you come in here, accept it for what it is. Awesome. Great. But if you're coming here and change it, then no, we don't fucking want you. It don't matter if you're a guy, if you don't matter if you're a girl, white, black, Latino, whatever. If you're cool and you like it for what it is, awesome. Welcome to the party. Let's go watch Die Hard after this. But if you're a trendy poser, then you gotta get the fuck out. Heavy metal is best served as a dish that is not mainstream. Plain and simple. Thank you for watching this video, and you lay down your souls to the gods rock and roll.
Remember, Sally, when I promised to kill you last?
That's right, Major. You did.
I lied.
Good old overtime. Me being a solutionary and someone who's like, hey, Nick, you're always talking about spec, but people need to look beyond what's on the surface. I'm like, okay, I got you, bro. All right, bet. Let's do it. So I'm going to recommend some bands for you and some albums because that's what I do because, once again, I want to be the problem solver. So we'll start off with Century right here from Sweden. Singer sounds like he's singing through a tunnel. A little bit of a heavy load influence. Badass treadwave heavy metal. Came out last year, The Conquest of Time. They were one of the very first bands of last year's Hell's Heroes Festival in Houston, Texas, and it was so damn good. One of the best albums that came out last year. And of course, you got Traveler, a prequel to Madness. If you're more like in the Judas Priest, Iron Maiden type of thing of traditional metal, Traveler, prequel to Madness came out earlier this year. Badass. And if you're into death metal, I don't got it on me, but it's in my car, but I'm going to put the artwork on here so you can see it. Obscene Agony and Wounds, based out of Indiana. If you like Asphyx, Early at the Gates, Agony and Wounds is by far large, like the death metal album of the year. It's not even close. So, yes, check those bands out. Obscene, Agony and Wounds, Century, The Conquest of Time, and Traveler, prequel to Madness. Check out those albums. All right, there you go. There's your solution. Once again, lay down your souls to the gods, rock and roll.